enormous water resources comprising of major and minor lakes, rivers, valley dams, tanks, wetlands, among others. 18% of the country's surface area, equivalent to 43 square kilometers, is covered by open fresh water and swamps. There are several fish species, as you may know. We have narrow perch, commonly known as imputa, tilapia, mukene, and of recent, last week I also got to know there is ngasa, those on Albert, the narrow tilapia and catfish, and a few of those who are imported, especially the miracab. It is estimated that about 750,000 metric tons of fish are produced annually in this country, where aquaculture is estimated to contribute to about 65 metric tons out of that. The national target is about 1.7 metric tons of fish. 1 million metric tons expected from aquaculture, and the others from capture fisheries. Most of the fish products in Uganda are exported regionally, but also in the European market. To properly guide conservation and increase benefits from the fisheries resources of this country, a new fish and aquaculture law was introduced in Parliament and passed in 2023 and assented to by the President in 2023 March. The purpose of this brief is therefore to inform the country of the finalization of the development of the regulations and their accompanying guidelines that will complement the measures being taken by government to promote the sustainable exploitation and utilization of the fisheries resource in this country. We have a number of challenges affecting the sector. Some of the biggest challenges affecting the fisheries industry are scarcity of fish, increasing fish capacity, meaning too many fishers and fishing boats and gears targeting a few available species in the waters. There are also difficulties in implementing species-specific licenses, whereby a net which is permissible on Lake Victoria may not help those on Lake Albert or Choga. There is rampant use of monofilament nets. You may have followed me last week. This is actually imported into the country in containers. There is continuous importation of this same gear, and also those which are locally made at different landing sites. There is excessive use of lights for fishing, especially for mukene, and you know there is also a presidential directive in line with the same, and use of the hurry-up method, which is not discriminative. There are also wrong members in the fish management committees at different landing sites. Some landing sites, the one who is in illegal fishing is the chairperson. Then there's also harvesting of fish from fish breeding areas and nursery grounds. All these are causing low production and productivity of the fish that we require. This means our fish processing plants cannot receive the required number of fish for processing. The foreign exchange earnings are also therefore reduced. Fish availability for human consumption in the country is also inadequate. And you may compound all this with unemployment in the fishing industry. We have proposed solutions. To address these challenges, my ministry has finalized the development of a new set of regulations following the enactment of the Fisheries and Aquaculture Act in 2023. These regulations provide in detail with the laws that guide all fishers and aquaculture activities in the country. These regulations are the following. One, there are 9 regulations. One is the fish capacity. This will handle how many boats will be at landing site, how many fishers will be licensed in a district, and how many people will be at a learning site. So all those will be covered by the fishing capacity. It also provides for the sizes of types of gear allowable for fishing of each type of fish per water body. For example, it is provided that the small pelagic fishes, or mukene, we call it fishes because they are different species, will be harvested using scoop net. You have been following. It will be scoop net, not hurry up, and lift nets. And it will only be restricted to the dark phase of the moon in a distance of not less than 2 kilometers from the shoreline. The regulations restricts the fishing of silverfish to specific landing sites. So we shall restrict this to specific landing sites, not every landing site. The regulation, therefore, ensures that the number of fishers and fishing effort is maintained at the required number. It also provides for the various sizes of fish to be harvested. The second regulation is the closed fishing regulations. The regulation provides for closing of fishing activities in all water bodies in time and space. So there are days or times when we may choose to close all fishing activities. This happens in a number of countries. There will be wider consultation when that time comes, but the regulation also provides for this. Closure of fishing activities will be done as guided by research. The other regulation is the protection of fish breeding areas. With this regulation, all fish breeding grounds will be demarcated and protected. If you followed yesterday's Parliament, a colleague was concerned that they don't know where the breeding ground ends or starts from. So the demarcation will sort this. The other one is the quality assurance regulation. This regulation addresses the issue of the safety of the fish and fish products for human consumption. When we're exporting our fish to the European Union, there are standards, and these standards have to be followed. If we don't, then we risk those countries declining our exports. There's also the aquaculture regulations. These guide the management and development of all aquaculture activities. Yet you may want to farm fish, but where? Is it every swamp? So those will guide that. Then there's the fish more regulations. Because it's peculiar in nature, this special regulation is for controlling the harvest and trading in fish more, as you may know. There's also the fish co-management regulations. This regulation will guide the establishment of operations and roles of the fish learning site committees, ensuring that only qualified and substantial members are appointed to these fisheries management committees. These people will also have tags to identify themselves with the public where they undertake different activities. There's also the fish stocking and restocking regulations. These regulations are a set of a number, so there are quite many. So the purpose of this regulation is to guide the stocking and restocking of fish in natural water bodies. As you may know, some of the fish that we are crying for was actually introduced into the lake, like the Nile perch. So in some lakes, we may do restocking. The ministry will soon be looking at further improving the post-harvest handling, processing, and marketing, developing high-value products of fish, reviewing policy guidelines for development and utilization of fishes, that is, fishes in terms of species, not quantity. Of course, and preparing a species-specific plan. Then there's the establishment of the monitoring, control, and surveillance unit regulation. As you may know, people, including members of parliament, have complained a number of times about enforcement and specifically the army. The president has many times accepted that yes, we shall remove the army, but we must prepare our people to take over this responsibility. That's why we talk about the co-management committees. Given the importance of the sector and the potential that the Almighty God gave Uganda to produce fish, I request that we follow these regulations so that the number of fish in our water bodies can increase. I call upon the public, the local governments, civil society organizations, and the private sector to support us to ensure that we conserve the fish of this country for generations to come. I will also call upon all the fishers to apply for licenses before 15th September. This should have happened in March, so it's long overdue. So by 15th September, because after that date, enforcement to reduce fishing capacity, remove of boats that are not licensed will commence. The licenses that will be issued will be species specific, meaning the license issued for example, for Nile perch will not be the same for Mukene or the other species. Each fishing activity will have its own independent accompanying license. The licenses are not transferable. I've got a number of concerns from Kitagwenda and those other districts that you find 4 people on the same license. This is illegal, and every person has to ask for an individual license. The government will also disseminate guidelines that will also support the implementation of these regulations. Furthermore, as I conclude, I wish to state that there will be enhanced crackdown and stock enforcement on immature fish markets, importers, and distributors of illegal fishing gear. The ministry is more concerned about those who import in illegal fishing gear that create a conducive environment for our people to buy the same. So we are having a number of activities starting next week. You'll be seeing our enforcement team moving to different warehouses, shops, to see that we help the community get rid of this illegal gear. With all that, I want to thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I now invite colleagues in the media, those who have a question in regard to the fisheries subsector, please come this side. And then later we shall have Luganda. Questions? Jangu.
Minister, nze Mulangira Ddembe nkola n'omukutu gwa Reporter Online. Ekirungi oli wa ku bizinga eyo gy'ova. Mu ttaka eno waliyo abantu be bayita abalaalo ababonyaabonya abantu ku ttaka. Abavubi baba balina be bayita Abanyarwanda ababatulugunya ku ttaka. Abantu abo be baani? Bavaawa era lwaki batulugunya abantu nga gavumenti weeri? Ekibuzo kyange ekirala, abantu bakomplaininga ku excessive force ey'amagye. Era naliko eggaba wali ku mwala ennaku ezo, omuvubi n'aŋŋamba nti afazaali agwa mu nnyanja naye nga teyeewadde eyo mu mikono gy'abasajja abo abakuuma ku nnyanja. So ekifaananyi ky'abantu abo kibi nnyo. With that statement, mukolawo ki mmwe nga gavumenti ku nsonga ezo?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. My name is Serena Nagujja. I am a journalist, sir. I have 3 questions for you. My question is, yes, the problem of fishing on the lake has been long overdue to be solved, but the most challenging issue is about the importation of the illegal fishing gear. Who imports these gears? Why are they allowed in the country? Where do they pass? The fishing business is quite expensive. I don't know whether I've taken interest to practice it, but government keeps on banning the nets that they keep finding with these fishermen. But before banning, have you taken interest to know how much is a boat? Because they are always complaining about this, the boats. One boat can take like 4 million. These fishermen are very poor. As a ministry, which measures do you have to provide boats for these fishermen? Could be the ones that you need. I saw you talk about, there's something that you mentioned about Mukene, that they should no longer use hurry up. They should use scoop nets. Which other measures have you put for Mukene? Because there's also another problem on the lake about committees. For us, we are for Mukene. For us, we are for Mputa. Others are for. There are many committees on the lake. Could you provide one body that takes all, that governs all that, apart from the ministry and maybe the enforcement team on the lake? And also, I don't know whether you are aware that fishermen, but no, I'll tell you this one-on-one. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, nze Kyeyune Ali, kola ne Voice of Bugerere. Honorable Minister, ensonga zonna tuziwulidde era ebyennyanja mubikuumye. Naye nsaba okuntangazaamuuko katono. Ebbeeyi y'ebyennyanja ng'eri waggulu nnyo. Olunaku olwaleero woogenda oggula kilo emu eri ku mitwalo 2,000 bw'ogenda oggula Mukene nga ffe abalunzi yavudde ku 3,500 kilo gye tutabula mu mmere y'enkoko n'egenda ku 4,000. Ffe nga bannayuganda abali b'ebyennyanja abalunzi abakozesa Mukene mutuyambye tutya era mutuyambye ddi? Neyanziza.
Since there are no more questions, Honorable Minister, I will humbly request you to respond to those few questions, and then later we shall have Luganda.
Okay, thank you very much for those questions. One, I want to make it clear that me becoming a minister was only this year. Not even in January, but in June. So the other part of my life, I've been interacting, but also participating in fisheries. If fisheries needed a consultant, I would be one, because I was also educated using money from fishing. But what we grew up seeing is not what we are saying. So I want you at least to know that. So Mulangira, that's the issue of Abanyarwanda. I don't want to sound tribal, but it is true there is a group on different lakes having that ethnicity. The ethnicity may not be the issue, but are they licensed? Are they Ugandans? Because also in our regulations, we have been providing for licensing of foreigners. Yeah? Like you have Ugandans who are fishing in Kenya, East African community. You have those fishing in Tanzania, but they should have been licensed. That is the key word. The excessive use of force, it is true. There have been times, and many times I've also complained on the floor of Parliament before I was a member of Parliament. Now my duty is to stop complaining and try to address some of the complaints. When I assumed this office, among the first interactions I had was to work with the commander of the 155 Battalion, Major Sebukera, and the Marine commander, Afande Nyarwa. And we held a 4-day induction of all commanders of the different districts as far as fisheries enforcement is concerned. We told and educated these people on how they should actually do their work, but also with a human face. Personally, I would be very constrained to defend issues of a person who was shot dead by fisheries officials. I will be very, very constrained. So we continue to talk about it, but as for me, I don't only talk about it. We summon these people, and many times we have to agree that there has been a change, but it's not the desired one, so we continue to engage these people. But also I call upon the public to give us information, because many times a lot of right information is hidden, and the wrong one, the one which is given out. Some people are not ready to give information, fearing that they will come back for them the next day. So let's get information. We may not disclose who gave the information, but that is what we may use to solve some of these issues. Serena, who imports these illegal gears? Ugandans import this illegal gear. And which Ugandans? Some of them work with the connected people. That's why last time when I visited a bond where I had information, reliable information, that a container full of illegal gear had come in, and I had reliable information that it was going out that morning, which gear we are able to see a full container. So you ask yourself, how does it come in? That's why the president calls this term that there should be no corruption. It comes in with corruption. So people bribe their way in. And we also have the porous borders. Some people bring in these containers, these guys as goods in transit, going to Congo. Under international law, you cannot open the truck for goods in transit. But the moment they leave the border with Uganda into Congo, then they unseal these trucks, and the nets come back in buses, passenger buses, some on borders and so on, because our borders are porous. So, but then there is that group also in URA that we suspect to be working with some of these people, because some of the gear is actually offloaded in our bonds. So that is where the challenge is. But we have opened up. We are running after these people. It is not an easy task, but we call for a lot of information. So people are giving us information, because these people who bring in this illegal gear are also very careful. It's not on display. Actually, they don't sell to everybody. If you go asking for illegal gear, they will tell you we don't have it. So they only sell it to the person they are well known to. But the punishment for importers was also increased to 7 years. So if one is got importing illegal gear, he will be imprisoned for 7 years or pay a fine of 200 million. You see how punitive that punishment is, because those are the people who induce our people into those other activities. The other question was the cost of fishing gear. If there is anybody in Parliament that knows the cost of fishing gear, and the person in government, it is me. A boat goes for 30 to 35 million. including the engine and the nets. But also we have to know that there is a bigger risk in the lake getting depleted, whereby even if you get this right gear, you can't find the fish. So we have to balance. But also we have submitted a request to the president, and the president also listened. We are organizing our people. The president wants to provide a special PDM for the fishing community. And he has promised 1 billion per district, per fishing district, which we want to be annual. So that as they get their PDM of 1 million, there is also special PDM for the members of the fishing community, which they can use to buy some of this gear. So we call upon our people really to be in different groups, because the challenge with the fishing communities is one borrows on this island, the next day you come back, they tell you that person is shifted. The last island bordering Kenya, and the amount you spend in fuel tracing for him is bigger than the loan he took. So those challenges are there. That's why we want these people to be organized, so that if at all they are to access this money, then we know where they can be traced from. But also, poverty shouldn't really entice you into selling your precious daughter because there's poverty. There is more happiness in the lake recovering, and we have ever seen it. So that is what we should always strive for as we look for other. There's also under Agriculture Smart, there's a project where some farmers or some fishermen can apply and have matching capital of 20%, and then the government or UDB contributes 80%. But of course, many of our fishers are not, their businesses are not profiled. They have the boats, but they are not bankable. So that is also another challenge. That's the duty we have to continue sensitizing our people. Mukene, that's the other problem we have. The fishing community is divided into groups: Mukene, Mputa, then you go for Nkolongo, Ngasa. But when you go to animal husbandry, farmers are not divided into piggery, chicken, goats. They call themselves farmers. So that is where we actually doing sensitization of our people, that why these divisions, because it makes it actually difficult to get assistance for them. Every group is fighting the other. So we have been undertaking sensitization that really, amidst their differences, they need to be under one platform to make it easy. Because even with the passing of this act, there's also supposed to be the monitoring committee, where there is supposed to be a representative of the fishing community. So when you nominate one from Nairo Patch, those in Mukene will say that one doesn't represent us. When you do the same for Mukene, they now, so it makes it difficult even to nominate one person. So this sensitization will continue to the other one. You indicated that one was personal. So I reserve it to, because I have not understood it. So I'm available to also respond to it. Bwana Cheyune, the issue of price of fish is, the price is too high. Yesterday I was watching one of the social media platforms. The S5 chairman of Karangala was saying, why is the fish price low? He wants it to be high. And he mentioned a kilo of meat goes for over 15,000, almost 20,000. Why is, so it's a mismatch. The one who is practicing fishing wants the price to be up. And actually, if the price comes down, we go to Parliament and bring a petition. Price of fish has gone down. So it's not easy me convincing you that I would pray that the price of fish comes down. Actually, my prayer is that the price of fish should continue going up so that our people get value for money. But as an alternative, we are promoting aquaculture. So if we have as many people practicing aquaculture, then the price, especially for the farmed fish, tilapia, may come down. The one for Nile perch may continue going up, but the tilapia may continue going down. So there are a number of companies coming up, but also going to support under climate smart a number of our people in digging ponds. The ministry is stocking and feeding for a month, give feeds for a month, so that we can increase the volume of our fish in the form of fish farming or aquaculture. That's what I can say for now.